spot marketing. You feel like your marketing should be working, but your schedule isn't full. You're seeing reports and numbers that look like they're moving in the right direction, but when you look at the calendar or the revenue, it's just not lining up.
And that disconnect is where the frustration starts. You begin questioning your advertisements, the offer, or the agency who's running your ads for you. And most of the time, it's not that the marketing isn't working, it's that we're looking at the wrong numbers or missing key pieces that drive real results. Hey guys, I'm Juliana Wasco, VP of Marketing at Diamond Accelerator, and I've spent years building systems that take spas from surviving to scaling.
And I'm Julie Dunkirk, Senior Marketing Consultant. And over the last 5 years, I've worked with hundreds of med spas to generate higher quality leads and build consistent, predictable growth. We're not here to give you fluff. We're here to give you the actual Diamond KPI worksheet we use with all of our elite clients.
And before we start diving into the data, we want you to have this map in your hands. So comment KPI right now, and we will send over our official worksheet so you can follow along and audit your own practice in real time. So comment, Zoom, wherever you're at, drop your name and your email, comment KPIs, and we'll get that in your inbox shortly.
So let's get into the first major blind spot, which is ad transparency. This is one of the biggest areas of confusion. Often everything is bundled into one monthly fee and you don't have a clear breakdown of what is being spent on ads versus management. If your actual ad spend is too low, your campaigns won't have enough reach or data to optimize. You need to know the exact number going into ads every single month, not an estimate, not a percentage. But even with a budget, owners get trapped. And this is by what I call vanity metrics. These are things like impressions, reach, likes, clicks. While those numbers give you context, they don't tell you if your marketing is actually making you money. You can have thousands of impressions and zero bookings. Instead, you need to look at what actually matters. Are we generating actual leads, meaning opt-ins from people raising their hand? What is your opt-in rate? How many of those leads are turning into actual booking requests? When you have this level of visibility, you're not guessing, you're understanding.
And if you want to see exactly how your ad spend stacks up against our industry benchmarks, comment KPIs with your email address, and we'll get that worksheet right on over to you. So we brought in a few examples that Julie and I are super excited to introduce to all of you guys. These examples are from real life clients that Julie and I have worked with before, where we've had to, really get under the hood and see, what's working in their marketing system and what's not. So we have what we call our Diamond 9. I'm going to show this off to you guys now, and we're going to break it down so you guys can see why every single metric is so important to measure and why you need to have an open mind that your problem might not be your cost per lead. It might not be necessarily the revenue. So we're going to teach you in this practice exactly how we would find that. So everyone just bear with me for a second because, I have to share my screen. All right, it's loading. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to do a super quick review of what every one of these KPIs means for your practice. It's really a marketing funnel, guys. So from top to bottom, it is the top to bottom of what your funnel should be. So CPL stands for cost per lead. You'll hear us talking about that a lot. It's pretty common. Most people know that one. Opt-in rate is analyzing the percentage of clicks that became leads. And from those leads, appointment request rate, we want 40% of those leads to become an appointment request. You'll see on the left-hand side in the white is where I've detailed all of the goals, the industry benchmarks that we ideally want to hit. And you'll see, even just watching me go from top to bottom, these practices who are exceeding KPIs not every single one of their KPIs is necessarily exceeding that industry benchmark, right? But overall, when we're looking at their revenue per patient, how much money they're making off of each offer, we are seeing that they are exceeding. Appointment confirmation rate, right? Out of those leads, out of those appointment requests, how many of them actually confirmed their appointment? And then, of course, we want to track out of those appointment confirmations, how many canceled, how many no-showed, how many showed up, and out of those showed up appointments, how many converted into real paying patients, right? So everyone's here for. CAC stands for cost to acquire a customer. It's a CAC, and the ROAS is your return on ad spend. So ideally you want 2 to 3x return on your ad spend, meaning you put $1 in Facebook, you get $3 back. I will say Julie and I have well exceeded that, with the majority of our clients coming into almost a 6x return on ad spend. So super excited to introduce exactly how we've done it. So, Julie, let's look at practice number 1 on this chart. They're absolutely crushing it with their volume, and their cost per lead is only $17.90.
Yeah, exactly. So practice number 1 is optimizing for volume. They're probably running a low ticket offer, like a $3.50 unit talks offer. We see in our examples where their appointment request rate is at 52.38%, well above our 40% goal.
Yes. And practice number 2 stacks up, right, at a lot higher cost per lead, nearly double at $32.74. And their opt-in rate is lower at 9.32%, right? So to any generic agency, this looks way worse than practice 1.
Yeah, but if you look at the revenue per patient, practice number 2 is making, $2,300 per patient, while practice number 1 is at $472. So practice number 2 is likely offering a higher ticket treatment and taking deposits. So this is why you must track for each individual offer or campaign to get accurate insights.
All right, now I'm going to take us to an example of clients of practices who are not hitting our KPIs, right? Not close to our industry benchmark. So what we would call like a breaking point example, right? So practice number 1, their conversion rate is high, right? We're closer to the bottom of the funnel here at 82% conversion rate. But look at their revenue per patient. $199 per patient. Julie, what's the diagnosis on that?
Yeah, for this one, I definitely would say that this is a sales issue. So they're getting people in, but they are not generating enough revenue per patient, which tells me that they're most likely doing one-offs and they're not selling into treatment plans.
100% agree. I mean, from not knowing the offers, right, by just looking at these numbers, it tells us that the revenue per patient's $199. The offer itself is probably 199 laser facial or something along those lines, right? And that means that they're also not selling bigger packages. They're just doing that 199 service. So you're absolutely right. I could not agree with you more. Practice number 2 has a massive 55, nearly 55% cancellation rate, right? And 12% no-show rate. We're looking right here.
Yep. And that is a follow-up issue. So they're losing more than half their business before the patient even walks through the door because their internal systems are probably broken.
Exactly. So as you can see from this, guys, every KPI is important to track across every single campaign. Every metric matters, because unless you're really reporting on them from top to bottom like this, right? You could think, oh, well, my cost per lead is high, right? Let's turn that ad off. But that's not always the case, or in your best interest, even until we look at the funnel top to bottom. So to fix these breakdowns, we apply a framework called SAUTE. little spicing it up action, right? Not just about a follow-up trick, but this has to be woven into every single step of your marketing funnel, from your social presence to the consultation. You need to be making sure we're sauteing that. So what does that mean, right? Let's break down exactly what it is. The S in saute stands for scarcity. So you have to give them a reason to act on this offer now, right? To request this appointment now. And on your landing pages or in your ads, right, it should be really clear that the offer is limited to the first 10 people or this month only, right? Even if we're not actually tracking it, it's very important to make the end user really feel like this offer is going to be going away any moment, right? If it's always available, there's no reason for them to opt in today. The A in saute is authority. So why should they trust you over the spa across the street? That comes down to your authority in your niche. It needs to be on your Google business profile, in your website, right? Use your credentials, your years of experience, your before and after results to prove that you are the expert. And urgency, right, is about the why now. So in your text messages, your follow-ups, your workflows, you need to be emphasizing that their desired appointment time or this special pricing is slipping away at any moment. So make sure you book now. The foundation, the T, the trust, right? That's what you build through your social presence and your reviews. Your thank you pages, right? So they get into the opt-in page, they become a lead, they request their appointment. That final page should be your thank you page. Thank you for requesting your appointment. It should have video testimonials. It should have a what to expect video or any kind of education around what their next steps are, right? And exclusivity. So make them feel like they're a part of a very select group, right? Your ads and your landing pages shouldn't feel like some generic coupon, some templated landing page that any agency could throw up for you, right? They should feel like an invitation to an exclusive experience at your practice that I could only get at your practice. So audit your landing pages, your appointment request page, your text message workflows, your advertisements up against these 5 pillars. Saute, I'll say it again, right? Scarcity, authority, urgency, trust, exclusivity. If you have a high opt-in rate and no one's requesting an appointment, that points to you are missing authority or urgency, right, on that request page. So this helps us figure out what your next game plan will be based on that breakdown.
Yep. So if you're realizing your marketing feels generic and is missing these pillars, it is time to audit. So comment KPIs and we'll send you the worksheet that helps you identify where your saute is falling flat. Now, let's talk about the results of getting this right. One of our clients tracked these exact KPIs and optimized her funnels. And within 6 months, she saw an over $108,000 increase. So that's a 10,000% increase in one revenue.
Yeah. So she used that system, right, and stopped guessing and started building a marketing system that brings in leads and turns them into booked appointments.
So here is your immediate game plan. You want to identify and track, complete the KPI worksheet for every individual offer, analyze breakdowns, look for the gap. Is it a sales issue or a follow-up issue? And then optimize with saute. Choose your top 2 opportunities and inject scarcity, authority, urgency, trust, and exclusivity into those steps.
Stop settling for marketing that's just good enough, that doesn't fill the chair. Comment KPIs right now with your email and get the worksheet and start measuring metrics that actually matter. I've been watching my Zoom screen over here and I see some questions pouring into me that I am excited to get to. I want to cover also or I guess, you know what, let's answer these questions because I see a few of them are going to take us into the cost to acquire a customer. So Julie, why don't you take this first one? It's right up your alley. So question is, I'm getting a ton of leads from my ads, but my front desk says they're all low quality. How do I know if it's a lead problem or a follow-up problem?
So yeah, this is the number one complaint we hear, and the answer is always in the data. So to solve this, you need to look at your appointment request rates versus your confirmation rates on your KPI worksheet. If 40% of your leads are raising their hands to request an appointment, the quality of the lead is actually high. They want you to have it. However, only 10% of those people are actually getting on the calendar. You don't have a bad lead problem. You have a trust and urgency problem in your follow up. You likely have a gap in your text message templates or a delay in your response times that's letting those interest patients go cold.
Yeah, makes sense.
I see another one here. So my cost per lead is over $30, which feels really high. Should I turn my ads off?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I got this one. No. Well, maybe, but most likely not, right? Like, do not turn ads off because of a high cost per lead until you look at your revenue per patient. So remember when we were showing our case studies, we had practice two, right? They had a higher cost per lead. It was around $33, right? Which looks really expensive to acquire a lead on the surface. But because they were optimizing for a high ticket offer, right? Thousands of dollars in a package, they were generating $2,345 in revenue per patient. And I don't know about you, but if I knew I could pay $32 per lead, and those patients that I actually convert will turn into $2,300 sales, I would pay that for a lead all day long. So their return on ad spend, the ROAS, was healthy because they weren't chasing cheap clicks. They were chasing the right patients. High cost per lead is only a problem if your customer acquisition cost exceeds what that patient is actually worth to your practice. And okay, I have another one. Okay, Julia, this one's perfect. Okay, so we have a great show up rate, but our revenue per patient is stuck at $200. How do we fix that sales issue that you mentioned?
Yeah. So if your chair is full and your bank account isn't growing, you're likely acting as an order taker rather than a provider. So this happens when the practice leads with a low ticket offer like a $3.50 per unit tox offer, but fails to use the saute method during the consultation. So to fix this, you have to build authority and exclusivity the moment they walk in. Your consultation shouldn't just be the 20 units of tox they ask for. It should be a more comprehensive skin analysis that leads to a full face rejuvenation plan. If you aren't upselling and cross-selling into your more profitable services, you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table with every single patient. So I think we have one more. I'm currently with an agency that sends me a monthly report, but I don't see the KPIs. How do I get this data?
Oh, well, it sounds like a current report are filled with vanity metrics like impressions and reach and likes. And you need to have an honest conversation, right? With your provider, your marketing agency. Impressions do not pay your staff, and likes will not keep your lights on. So you need to take the Diamond KPI worksheet to your next meeting and tell them you need clarity around all of these metrics, your opt-in rate, your appointment request rate, and exactly how much of your budget is actually going into your ad spend. So if your marketing team can't or won't give you these numbers, you don't have a marketing partner, you have a transparency issue, and that's going to cost you a lot of your growth.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of KPI comments.
Yes. Last chance, guys, because I don't see any more questions. So I think we're about to wrap up here, unless
Um,
nothing else coming in. All right.
I don't see anything on my end. So all right, so we'll close out. If you love this training, make sure you share with your team or another med spa that could benefit from it. You can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel. To get access to more free trainings that will help grow your med spa, visit our link tree in our social bio and be sure to follow or to join us live every Wednesday, 2:30 Central Time, same place. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks, everyone.